My name's Adam Melnyk, the Momentum Coach, helping you move forward. And today we're going to be talking all about first impressions and the big 5 don'ts of what not to do to make a good first impression. The first thing to understand is the first impressions bias is a real thing. It is the most important thing to kind of understand when you're meeting somebody. What this means is that when you meet somebody, you put heavier emphasis on the first interaction you have with them than any other interaction you have with them. Which means that if you have a good first impression with somebody, they're going to remember it. They're going to think, hey, this person's super smart, they're super talented, and they're going to have this great positive impression upon you, which if you do something bad or do something that isn't quite kosher, they're more likely to sweep it under the rug because they say, well, they kind of screwed up here, but when I first met them, hey, they were pretty awesome. But it works in the opposite effect, which means that if you screw up, if you insult them, if you come across as somebody that is undesirable to speak with, somebody that is mean or cruel, they are going to put heavier emphasis on this interaction, even though you may be a nice, kind, great person to work with, because in their mind, they say, well, the first time I met them right out the gate, they were a giant prick and asshole. And because of that, it doesn't matter if they're trying to be nice to me because that's clearly just manipulation to get on my good side. Their picture will form of you of the very first interaction they have on you. And if you want to fix that interaction, let's say you ended up screwing up, you said something you really shouldn't have said, and they think of you in a very negative light, I'm going to be honest with you, you have months worth of work. This is how important first impressions are. And when you get into leadership, you are constantly in the job of making friends, of creating a reputation, creating a positive reputation that people will cling to and they will naturally try to gravitate towards, which is why it is so important that when you first meet somebody, it is a positive first impression. Unfortunately, so many people screw this up and I see it all the time, which is like, fair enough. If you just want to go out there and live your life, you go for it. But if you're trying to create a reputation, if you're trying to create a network, a friend pool, then you have to learn these 5 big don'ts. And the first one, we're going to start off easy because everybody starts off with this one, which is have a good handshake, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot tell you how many times I go out and I shake somebody's hands and it's like this limp noodle. It's like, what is this? Do you find me disgusting? Do you not want to talk to me? Are you unconfident? Like, what's going on here? I've also had it where I go to shake somebody's hands and they are just crushing my hand. And it's very clear that it's like this weird dominance assertion on their part of, oh, Adam's a man, I'm a man, I need to crush his hand to kind of assert this dominance. But I've also had it with some women. And it just comes across as you are unconfident in yourself, that you feel like you need to express your dominance over everybody you meet. And at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want to work with somebody that's going to just try to dominate me right out the gate in the first interaction. Like, don't do this. Also, your hand hurts after those handshakes and you're sitting there going, oh God, do I have to deal with an aching hand? No, just a nice, firm handshake. Keep it strong. Like, this is the basics of the basics. Everybody talks about it, but I guarantee you, when you get out there, start shaking hands, you'll realize people are just have shitty handshakes and it's so frustrating. Rule 2, stop questioning people's life choices. I get it. They're not your life choices. And they're not your life choices for a reason. However, it is their life choice. And when you start questioning it, when you start putting them on the back foot, they get upset. They get angry at you and they look at you very negatively. Like, let's think about it. If you tell somebody that, for example, you're a leadership coach and they start questioning you and they start attacking you, being like, oh, why did you get into a leadership coach? Oh, that doesn't make a whole lot of money. I wouldn't get into that type of business. It puts you on the back foot. You sit there and you go, why are you questioning my life choices? It's not your life. And I saw this just the other day. In fact, I was at a party and a nurse came up and they started chit-chatting with one of my friends. And my friend, he works as a structural engineer. And when he started talking about what he did, this nurse is sitting there going, why would you want to do that? That is so boring. Nobody likes working with numbers. I couldn't even work with numbers. I find sitting at a desk teaching all day just awful. And it's like, nobody asked you, man. Like, this isn't about you. You asked them about what they did for work, what they did for a living. This is about their life choices. If anything, you should be being positive about it. You should be praising them. Oh, you got into structural engineering. That's so amazing. More leading from curiosity. But because you're questioning it, it immediately puts them on the back foot and they just turn off to you. I remember being at a house party and a guest said to the host, "Oh, this is your place? I wouldn't live here." It's like, right, this isn't your place. Again, questioning life choices. And it's just making a bad first impression right off the gate because the host walks away from that interaction going, wow, that guy's a real dick. And they just say, I don't want anything to do with them. So again, just stop questioning people's life choices right out the gate. It's not the time to do it. Just don't do it, period. Rule 3, don't use offensive language. Don't swear. I get it. Some people's vocabulary, they just swear like sailors. They just think that this is normal. It is not. When you first meet somebody, you don't know where they are societally speaking. And in certain societal expectations, it's you don't swear. You don't use crass language. You don't use vulgar language. If you do, you actually get bumped down, societally speaking, in their mind to a lower tier. They look at individuals that swear as low society individuals, which is something we don't want because, again, we're trying to build a reputation. We're trying to create this positive reputation about ourselves. And so if you're swearing a lot, they'll sit there and they go, well, I just don't want to touch this person. Let's just take 10 steps back and kind of keep them at arm's length, which is, again, something that we generally don't want to do if we're trying to create this positive first impression. On top of that, you don't know this individual. You've just met them. You don't understand what they think is okay and not okay. And by swearing, I've seen some people just get really upset with it and they get just turned off immediately. And again, we just don't want that. The rule is just don't swear, don't use crass or vulgar language. Keep that to a minimum. Keep that with your friends, guys. Keep it with people that you really trust and that you feel like you can let loose with. But with strangers that you've just met, no, keep it clean, especially at social functions. My God, I remember I was at a networking event and there's one young gentleman. Oh, I love him to bits. But he went in there and he just started swearing like a sailor, using vulgar language all over the place. And you could just see it. There's just kind of hole in the event where he was in the middle and people were just like walking around him to stay away from him. And it was because nobody wanted to associate with him because he was vulgar. And he was rude and he was disrespectful. And so people were just like, you know what, you do you. And the unfortunate thing is this man, like he walks out, he has a zero self-awareness, by the way, which is kind of sad. And he sits there and he thinks to himself, he's like, yeah, that was such a great event. I'm like, was it? Nobody wanted to talk to you. Nobody really wanted to interact with you because of just how you were presenting yourself. You just made a very poor first impression. So again, don't swear, don't use crass or vulgar language. Rule 4, don't joke at the other person's expense. In fact, I would almost argue, just don't joke around when you first meet somebody, period. And the reason for that is you don't know this person, guys. Like I'm trying to impress upon this. You do not know them. You don't understand their humor, their language, how they talk, their dialect. You probably don't know jack shit about them. And because you don't know anything about them, they're not going to understand your humor and they can take it very poorly, especially if you're making jokes about them. Because again, it's just this idea of you're attacking them at that point. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in social situations. I've run events. I've run networking events. I've done workshops. I have just spoken to so many people and they try to make a joke at my expense and it never lands well. I remember when I was doing a board game meetup and I was getting all these people together from the community to come play some random board games just as a very community building aspect. And one gentleman comes up to me and he smiles, shakes my hand and just says, "Oh, so you're the new guy." And he just starts laughing. And I'm sitting there going, "What? What do you mean the new guy? Like, this is my event. I am hosting this. You paid money for it. Like, what is going on here? And it kind of soured the taste of my mouth, because I'm sitting there going, I'm just trying to make friends. I'm trying to build this community. And here you are kind of making a joke at my expense. Like it didn't land. And I've never really seen joking land well when it comes to first interactions, unless you're able to make a good rapport first. And even then, it can be hit or miss. The rule of thumb that most people work with, and this is one that I teach a lot, is if you are going to be joking with somebody, you need to make fun of yourself first before you can make fun of them, because then it kind of sets the stage of, oh, he's making fun of himself and he's making fun of me. So it's just, we're having fun here. There's almost this idea of like equality, like we're equally making fun of each other. But even still, it can get kind of dicey, because I've seen that interaction kind of happen, and then they just start making fun of each other, and then it devolves into kind of these quiet, passive aggressive jabs at each other. And once you start doing that, it's like, again, you're souring the relationship, you're souring the first impression, and then they just generally don't want to talk to you anymore, which is, again, I just simply say, don't joke around with individuals. Another quick story about that is I remember talking to one of my friends, and he works as an interpreter, and he was telling me this amazing story. I can't remember what it was. I think it was with the Japanese ambassador with the American ambassador, and they were kind of discussing trade relations. And the American ambassador said a joke to kind of break the ice, create this levity in the situation. But unfortunately, when it comes to translations, like, jokes don't land at all. And so the Japanese translator just kind of leaned over to his ambassador and said, he said a very funny joke, please laugh, just to break the levity, because jokes, again, in first impressions and first means don't quite land, but especially when you're dealing with a language barrier, they really don't land. So save them for when you know the individual well, save them for when you have a good rapport with them. They understand you, you understand them, you know what their sense of humor is. And then you can just joke around with them and just have some fun. But until then, like, kind of keep it polite, keep it professional, keep it warm, just stay away from the jokes. And lastly, rule number 5 is the topics we simply don't talk about when we first meet somebody, which is money, religion, politics. And lastly, we don't talk about our health. I don't know. People really struggle with this one. I cannot tell you how many times I've met individuals and they just start talking about people's money. Oh, how much do you make? Do you own a house? What's the equity in your house? It's like, what are you doing? It makes people uncomfortable, because they're sitting there going, are you trying to evaluate me? Are you trying to figure out, am I leading a good life or not? Like, what the hell is going on there? And you just make them feel uncomfortable, and you create this sense that we aren't equal. And when we're trying to make a good first impression, we're trying to create this idea of equality. We want to be equal with them because we're trying to be friends. We're trying to build that relationship. And if we're not equal and we're setting up this relationship that I'm superior to you or you're superior to me, like, you're not going to have a good relationship down the road. We generally don't want that. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Also, wars have been fought on that. Like, just stay away from money conversations. And religious conversations. My God, people need to hear this, because I'm going to be honest with you. I do live streams and people talk about religion all the time in my live streams. They're always asking about religion in my live streams. I've gone on dates and I've met people and immediately they're talking about religion, and it's a big no-no. Big no-no. And I know it sounds obvious not to talk about religion, but again, people really need to hear this. Atheists need to hear it, because immediately I've met people that you just start talking to them and they just start talking about, like, oh, how can you believe in a higher power? How can you believe in a certain religion? And they just start attacking a person. Again, we don't want to attack people when we first meet them. That's not the goal, guys. The goal when we first meet somebody is to leave a good, positive first impression. And to start attacking religion and religious beliefs is a big no-no. Atheists need to stop talking about religion. People who are in religious organizations need to stop talking about it. I remember meeting a doctor for the first time, and he was immediately asking me what my religion was. And it got real weird real fast because I'm sitting there going, why does my religion matter? Are you trying to evaluate me? Are you trying to assess me? And it made me feel real uncomfortable. Like, just stay away from religion. Religion is incredibly personal and incredibly important to the individual that you are talking to, and it should be considered private. You can get into that conversation down the road when you know them, when you have built a rapport, when you can just talk to them as an equal. But until then, stay away from it, especially in the first interaction. And politics. My God, we live in a politically charged society right now. Everybody's talking about politics. Everybody has an opinion on everything. Do not talk about it because we are living in a very deeply divided society with people that have very strong beliefs that are very entrenched in their beliefs. And so if you start talking about politics, understand because things are so polarized right now, they will see you as either in their camp or not in their camp. And if they see you as in their camp, awesome, great, good. You've made a great first impression. But if they see you as somebody who is on the opposing side, guess what? Their tribalism is going to kick in and they're going to say, you're a threat, you're an enemy, I don't want to talk to you. And they're probably going to attack you at some point. Not physically attack you, but they're going to attack you verbally and start questioning your life choices and how can you possibly think that way. And again, wars have been fought all over political ideologies. For example, World War II, huge political ideologies in that war. So just stay away from the politics talk. Like, you don't know this person, they don't know you. Let's leave a good first impression. If they start talking about politics, just steer the conversation away, guys. Do not get just stuck in the quagmire of politics. And even you might even notice this, like if they start talking about politics, you might start getting turned off by them and they're going to leave a bad first impression on you. And again, we don't want this if we're trying to build relationships and we're trying to network. And lastly, don't talk about your health. Listen, right now we live in a society where we are talking a lot about mental health and burnout and exhaustion and all that fun jazz. I get it. We're a little bit more open about this. However, it generally does not look well on you if the first thing you start talking to somebody about is how you're exhausted and how you hate your job and how you're burnt out. It's like this, what are you doing? You're talking about your health. You're talking specifically about your mental health. I remember seeing one woman, she was at a networking event, and what she started doing was she just started trauma dumping about how much she hated her job, all the bad bosses that she's had, all these bad experiences that she's had in the work environment. And people are listening. And she's building up a bad reputation for herself because when people are listening to this, they think to themselves, I don't want to work with this individual. They're a volatile, dangerous individual. They're somebody that will probably be a massive headache for me. And if I even start becoming friends with them, what type of relationship am I going to have with somebody that is just speaking ill of their employers and their employees and their colleagues and their profession, like right out the gate? That's not good. It's not healthy. I've encountered many times when I've talked with individuals and they just start trauma dumping on me. They start talking about their mental health or mental illness in great detail. And my immediate thought is, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to let you in my life because you're a hot mess. So again, stay away from your health. I've also seen when people talk about like their physical health and it's so awkward, guys. Oh, God, I remember being at a work function and this one lady, I don't know her. And I just started talking to her. I was like, so hi, hey, how's things going? And she's like, oh, not so good. I have this huge abscess on my butt. And I'm like, I don't need to know about this massive pimple you got on your butt that is hurting you and needs to be popped. Like, this is kind of disgusting. What the hell? I just met you. And again, it just throws people for a loop. Like, don't talk about your health. Just take that step back, breathe, have fun with the conversation. Just stay away from it. My name's Adam Melnyk, the Momentum Coach, helping you get unstuck. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, send it to somebody who could also use this information. And if you're stuck in your life and you need help moving forward, feel free to reach out for a free coaching consultation where we can sit down, see where you are now, where you want to go, and help start moving you forward. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.